I just erased a dozen videos. Not a dozen, about 8 videos. Well, no, 4. 4 videos. 4. I'm having a hard time doing this video because in this third part of a series, I need to be able to explain how I and why I choose Christianity or why I choose Jesus Christ. I really don't get it. I can understand people, not being Christian at the moment. I don't get people trying to squeeze hypocrisy out of me. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. I don't understand how people consistently, constantly try and make a hypocrite out of me for being a Christian. And it's not because of hypocrisy, it's because of Christianity. They'll say that, oh, it's your hypocrisy, but no, it's Christianity. Because I wouldn't be such a hypocrite if I wasn't a Christian. This is not a hero is the victim video. Okay? But I do want to address that it's all a biblical situation. It is. What the heck am I looking for? Oh, I need to go to Google. Okay, this is what happens when you get old. I'm just going back and forth. Don't know what I'm looking for. Okay, get off of it. I don't need you no more. You know he helps to screw you. Whoop, I mean say that. You know help. So the heck with you. Okay, don't even get off my Google page. Okay, Morgan Freeman. Yeah, just like last time. Off there. Okay. Along the way, Freeman, who has long identified himself as agnostic, discovered his religion, Zoroastrianism. Good Lord. Here. Can you see that? Okay, good. Pronounce that word for me. Pronounce that word for me. What's the name of his religion? Zoroastrianism. Here, I'll do it like this. Oh, come on, you ain't gotta leave. Just let me. Yeah, there you go. Okay. I know it starts with Zor. Here it is. Oh God. What is he into? Help us, Jesus. Zoroastrianism is one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, having originated in ancient Persia. It contains both monotheist and dualistic elements, and many scholars believe Zoroastrianism, if that's the pronouncing of them, influenced the belief systems of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Okay, let's go back to Freeman here. Okay. Along the way, Freeman, who has long identified himself as agnostic, discovered his religion, Zoroastrianism. It is a belief system that is untrinistically Me. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Pretty much sums it up, he said. Well, interesting stuff, Mr. Morgan Freeman. Now, um, I don't know. Let's just say it is a belief system that is intrinsically me, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Pretty much sums it up, he said. Me, good words, good deeds, pretty much sums it up. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Um, absolutely not. As I said in video earlier today, you can look it up. Um, what confuses me, which shouldn't be any confusion at all, it's all in the Bible. It's written in the Bible. Speaking of which, don't ever go without your props. Let me go get it. Got my Ray Comfort Evidence Study Bible. Like, I need more Bibles, but this one was calling my name. It's brand new. I only had it. I've only had it for 2 months now, and when I bought it, I accidentally bought 2 of them. So I gave a friend of mine, black friend of mine, that we like to talk about, conservatism, and we like to talk about the evils of the LGBTQ community, and what they're doing to America. The poison it does to America, and me and him talk about that all the time. And I told him, I says, I'm going to get me this Ray Comfort Bible. He says, who's Ray Comfort? I says, good question. I'm trying to figure that out myself. But I watch him on YouTube. He seems pretty legit. I like his Living Waters program. I'm subscribed to it, so they send it to me all the time. And he's always on there doing the one thing I wish I had the guts to do. Just pull people over like a real officer. Just pull people over. Stop. I want to talk to you. And tell them. Have you ever lied in your life? And people are very honest. Yeah, I'm lying right now. Okay, all right, good. Have you ever stolen anything? Yeah, maybe a box of cookies. Yeah, okay. Um, have you ever said your mother's name in vain? No. Okay, well, it's wrong to use God's name in vain. So what you're saying is you're a lying thief who uses God's name in vain. And they laugh at him. They say, I never thought of it like that. Well, now you do. Okay. And I know that when he walks away, these people are going to go home and they're going to think about over and over again what he might have been saying. And eventually they'll give their life to the Lord, maybe later on, but they'll still give their life to the Lord. It works. It works. But this guy, walked away from the faith 4 times. The last time that I came to the Lord, I ran into my senior pastor who I hadn't seen in years. I met him up in Arnold, a little town outside of Pittsburgh here, probably about 25 minutes away. I met him up top Arnold. Good old Sam's Beer and Pop store. It will never go nowhere. It's been here before the 1900s. It'll never go nowhere. Went up there. I was there. He was across the street at the lawyer's office, which is right down the street from Lazarus Tomb, the Christian coffee house, Lazarus Tomb Christian Coffee House. Where all of us people that don't go to the same church, we all meet there. Like there'll be a couple guys from my church, a couple guys from this church, a couple guys from that church. All these different people come there, and some of them ain't saved. They come in there, they're not Christians. They come in there, and they enjoy themselves. They enjoy the music, the bands, the coffee. Everything's free. The coffee, the refreshments. Christians just getting together, chilling, you know. But that day, Lazarus Tomb was closed. It was too early in the day for it to be open, and it was a weekday. So Pastor Spencer saw me, and I looked at him. We looked at each other like two dogs that ain't seen each other in a long time. We just ran up to each other, gave each other a big hug, and he said the one thing that brought tears to my eyes, but I made sure I didn't cry to him, or cry in front of him, rather. He said, "I've missed you." He says, "I've been praying for you because I've missed you. People have been asking about you." And he never once said something to shake me, like, "When you coming back to church?" Or "Where you been lately? What you been doing?" He didn't say that. I was expecting him to say, "When you coming back to church? Where you been? Where you been hiding?" That kind of a thing. I gotta plug this in. That was back when right before I got married to my wife back in the day. And he wasn't the only one, but there were other ministers. Well, he was the only one that said to me the last thing I expected to hear. The other ministers, they said the same thing. Well, they said the different thing. They said the thing I expected to hear is like, you know, when you gonna come to our church, and if you come to our church, you'll like it, blah 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 blah. And my wife, or before I married her at that time, they would come up to us while we're sitting out there, and everybody's outside, and they're walking through the crowds and giving out tracts. And this was the last time I walked away, and I was a backslider at that time. I was living in fornication with this woman, and she moved in with me, and they came out there. I was a bad guy, but they came out there, and they would come over there and talk to us. We would, and she was like, at the time, more interested in seeing what these preachers had to say than I was, because she's not a veteran Christian like I am. She's more like somebody that was interested, but I was a veteran Christian. And you know walking away from the faith is like coming back from a war. The wars in Iraq or whatever, and you come back as a wounded soldier, and you start hating on the military. You start hating on, the whole soldierhood, and that, and you just play victim, and I just didn't care about anything religious, you know. But she, being new to all this, even though she had went to a church before and spent a lot of years in a certain church in California, she come up here, you know what I mean? She felt that church she went to in California was very hypocritical. And she come up here and all of a sudden she was interested. I'm here a backslider. I'm thinking, woman, if you want to be a Christian, why don't you go find yourself a Christian man and let me enjoy my beer, or let me enjoy, what I'm saying, free booty. Because they're going to come up here and here they came. They did it. Up, here they come. They're coming over here. Oh, God. They're coming over here. You two. I assume you're married, right? Oh, God. No. Common law married? Not even close. And they started to tell us the gospel. And I'm thinking, I know this gospel like the back of my hand. I've been through it a dozen times. Here we go. But I listened and pretended to act like, out of respect for them, pretended that I didn't know better. I didn't know. And they preached the gospel to me, and they kept bugging us about then they started asking us, when you get married, But then, brother, it ain't none of your business. None of your business. But, and eventually we did get married, and we got married after being asked about it so many times and we felt convicted. She felt more convicted than I did. She was a new believer. She felt more convicted than I did about, being about living in fornication. You know how much fornication I turned down over the years? Okay? This is my time to fornicate. That's the way I felt. Okay? When we go back in this trailer, you ain't going to want to be talking about these religious people. Okay? But we started going to a Baptist church out there on Lincoln Beach where we lived. Not a real beach. It has a creek. And I was the lucky one for my trailer that she moved into with me to be right on the creek. When I opened the blinds in my window, you saw nothing but water. It was a beautiful sight. But that was the ghetto beach. It wasn't no beach. It was a ghetto beach called Lincoln Beach. Okay? You get in the car and ride over up the hill and everything is empty. There's nothing up there but burnt down homes. We had more house fires out there than you wouldn't believe. I mean, house fires destroyed everything. You go up the street, it looked like a haunted house. Go up there at night. Oh my God. One time my car broke down up there. It started dragging. It didn't want to make it back down the hill. I dropped somebody off up there and my car started, it started, you know, I think I had a bad I think it was when my water pump went or something like that, but it stopped. It wouldn't, and I'm up there, I'm calling for help. Standing between two haunted houses. Oh my goodness. You talk about somebody, and I knew that they were using them haunted houses to go in there and do drugs and all that stuff. So I'm thinking I'm about to get shot, you know. But this is where I come from. This is where I live, the places I live. Some of these places I've reconnected with the Lord. We were going to a Baptist church for a while, and then we met my senior pastor that I told you about that I met in Arnold right outside of Lazarus Tomb Coffee House. My pastor and we reconnected, and when we reconnected, we started coming back and going to church here in Pittsburgh. But then I finally convinced my ex-wife that it would be better to go to the church in Tarentum. It's closer to home. God, use your head. She wanted to be down there with the black people. I know these black people. Much as I miss them, we can go to the white church. We really can. We can go to the white church. Not, white people ain't gonna bite you. We can go to the white church. God. So we went to the white church. We had a blast. Never felt better. Never felt more comfortable. She got to understand where I was going real quick. Went to the white church and we ended up, because that white church didn't really have anything. Now down in Pittsburgh, they weren't very flexible. They were set in their ways, but you know, up here in Tarentum, it was like, can you sing? Can you play a tune? You know, we can learn, you know, and we did. And she was the keyboardist, I was the guitarist, and we got the kids involved, and we got cute little Miss Vicky involved, and we had ourselves a little bit of team, a little bit of a worship team there. And everybody was blessed, and that was the beginning of the end of a marriage, because our marriage was one of the hardships that we had in the church. Does that mean that God is a dummy? Does that mean that God don't care? Does that mean that we were too good for God, or too set in our own ways for God? What does that mean? If it hadn't have been for that worship team, we probably would have still been married. I don't know. All I know is that was the beginning of sorrows for us. We, one day she opened up her mouth about that worship team when I thought that, we were doing this for the church. And I was like, you talking about a man not willing to argue with his woman that night, just standing there with his mouth open. That was the beginning of the end. I'm not one to get into religion, folks. I don't give a rat's behind about nobody's stupid religion. I really don't. And I remember, coming up in Pittsburgh and the battles I had with Jehovah's Witnesses. Well, you ain't got to worry about me being no Jehovah's Witness, you bunch of hypocrites. I remember the Mormons. Okay? Good heart workers, but don't really know what they believe. Don't really say much, because to argue with somebody is just, to them, is just like death. Like, no, please. And then my own church, finding out that people in my own church were racist. Wait a minute, hold up. Is there such thing as black racist people? Huh? Well, when black people say stuff like, you need to learn how to stick with your own, when these white people already go to our church, wouldn't that be racism? Wouldn't that be racist to say something like that? You need to learn to stick with your own? What does that mean? That was the beginning of the end, too. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't have, let's talk about the black church. Like, why couldn't they go to camp? They could afford it. Oh, too many white people. General Assembly. Oh, too many white people. No, there wasn't, because there was Asians and other races. There were a lot of brown-skinned people that just wasn't black. They were there, too. But, you General Assembly, too many white people. We're not going to spend all that much money to see the white people. Camp. What about all them white people? I don't see no black people down there. Just all white people. You see how me talking about Black America in my videos always comes back because all my life I've suffered. This is my story. I've suffered this nonsense. I've suffered this. This goes all the way back to my childhood. Black folks hating on white folks. Black folks being intimidated by white folks. The wrong white people. Sure, there are white folks that you should be intimidated about because they'll push you out in traffic in 2 seconds. But Christians, man, you don't think these white people had a meeting before they invited you behind? They knew to be on their best behavior before your black behind showed up. That's just one of the things that bothers me about the modern day church. Okay? And I noticed that. I just noticed that yesterday. Somebody looking at their phone. They're not going to mention anything that they're talking about on their phone until somebody black says, oh, so-and-so's going to be in the Super Bowl. Or so-and-so was at the Super Bowl show. Or did you know that so-and-so's quitting the Pittsburgh Steelers? Or did you know so-and-so just came out with another album? Or, they're all black people. You're not allowed to talk about white people and their achievements. But I see white people talking about stuff that black folks do all the time. And this went on in the church. It's okay if I go to work and I see y'all, see people like being pro-black about everything, anti-white. Okay, that's one thing if you're not a Christian, but when you're a Christian, now you would think, all you hypocrites out there would think that because there's one tiny little bit of hypocrisy in the church, if there's one iota of it, the church is no good. Skip it. It's anathema. Get rid of it, right? There's hypocrisy everywhere. There's so much hypocrisy in the world, they decided that we don't know what a man is anymore. We don't know what a woman is. You can't get more hypocritical than that. You got people who are gay, 3-person relationships. One's gay, one's non-binary, the other one's transgender. And you got people who don't believe in marriage, they just call it partners. I don't have a wife anymore. Your wife is not your wife anymore. Your husband is not your husband. They're your partners. You want to talk to me about hypocrisy that I can't do anything about. But you could do something about your extravagant, wicked lifestyle. God didn't create people to be this dumb any more than he created people to be fat. Okay? But I lived a life, everything from, and you know what? When I got out of the so-called black community, which back in the day as a kid, I thought that Homewood was the black community. I told my friend, he calls me every day. I just talked to him earlier today, I believe. We just rediscovered each other. Probably what it's been now. We've been back together for about 5 years. I led him to the Lord, and in return, he gave me a ride home. We met in camp meeting. Too old to go to camp anymore. We met in camp, in 19 church camp or Jesus camp, whatever one you want to call it, meeting. We met in 19, right before I went to Job Corps. We hooked up. We started hanging out. 1990. Oh, it was 1980. Yeah, he was there when I graduated from high school. So we met in 1985. Yeah, been good friends for a long time now, since 1985. But we just rediscovered each other back in right after my divorce. Matter of fact, long after my divorce. I think we rediscovered each other back in 2017, actually. And yeah, it was 2017 because I know it was before Trump got in office. It was right before Trump got in the office. Wait, so it was longer than 2017. Well, my first time running back into him was in 2017, and then because me and him and another friend of mine from back in the day used to get together and go out and get donuts and stuff, go bowling together. Back in oh wait, no, we've been back together since 20 because I met him before I moved back here to Pittsburgh. Around the time I moved, 2014, that's it. 2014. Sorry to put that in the video. I just realized just how long me and this cat been back together. 2014. Now, back in 2014, we didn't really talk with each other that much. Yeah, because I remember it was right before I moved here to Pittsburgh. I finally caught up. He finally caught up with me. Yeah, but he's a big testimony in my life that makes me stay put in Jesus. But I'm not a religious person. I've never been. I've never been one even though I grew up in the church, I used to hate my mom for bringing me to church. And then she couldn't just go to church. We had to hang out at the church all day because we didn't want to miss our ride getting back. Like, there was a van that came back to McKeesport to pick us up and take us to church, but no. We had to stay downstairs in a spooky basement until night service came. Most people in my church back in the day, and this is the way I've been with the church I go to today. If you go to the morning service, you don't need to go to the night service. If you go to the night service, you don't need to go to the morning service. You can get your sleep in and go to the night service. Now, that would be kind of bummer if people didn't get up and go to church early in the morning. But, you know what I'm saying? Night service was just as much an option. And the pastor's just re-preaching what he preached in Sunday mornings. Now, I had friends that would say, well, I'm going to go to church on Sunday morning instead of night because I feel like when I go to church on Sunday night, we're just getting leftovers. But my mom, she liked to eat it fresh and then get the leftovers. Now, if we didn't go to church, we didn't go to church at all. But if we went to church in the morning, we had to go at night too. Now, my church that I go to today, if I go in the morning, I don't have to go at night. And sometimes I do go at night. If I'm working and I'm tired, I had to work on a Sunday or maybe a Saturday this weekend or whatever, I'll go to church on a Sunday night instead of Sunday morning because I don't have to dress as formal or I don't feel I need to dress as formal and I can relax and come back in there. And I know it's going to last only about like an hour at the most, if an hour, because this is just the leftovers from what they did this morning. And so he's going to hurry up and go through a couple worship songs. He's going to get up there, listen to a few testimonies or whatever, and boom, hello, he's going to preach. He's going to preach for like 15 minutes and we're out the door, Attitude of these Christians. But praise God. I mean, goodness, how did I get here? The church that I go to right now, I haven't been there in a while. But I keep in contact with everybody. And I know they're praying for me. I know they love me. But the Christian faith is not about when Morgan Freeman, and I'll go to the footage to make sure I'm correct in saying this, but I noticed in the story, the story of God with Morgan Freeman, where he goes through all these religions, and he comes back, with his final judgment of, a way to, he makes an argument to sum it all up. Which when he did that, I knew that was coming, and that's why I was like, oh God, here we go. And he did. He did give a summary of all these religions that was kind of an oxymoron, okay? But also, I think when he went to Christianity, he went to the Catholic Church. And I think I was a little ticked because he went to the Catholic Church, but he didn't go anywhere else. Christianity was the last one that he did, I think, before he closed out. And he just skipped through it. He didn't really spend that much time on Christianity. Why am I not surprised? Because people don't want there to be one God. People don't want there to be one true faith. They don't want there to be oneness. They don't like that oneness crap. They don't want no one. But there's only one. Okay, there's only one. And after doing 4 videos and having to erase them, I'm having a hard time getting it out here too. So I'm not gonna hold you long. I'm gonna end this on my normal time, but it's really personal as to how I got here. It's not about me walking into a church and saying, "Oh, cool, I'll be back next Sunday." No, everybody that walks into a church has to struggle with the angel, like Jacob did. Jacob wrestled with the angel, and he said, "I won't let go until you bless my soul." You gotta want this. But even though you want this, you're still going to wrestle with the angel until the angel blesses your soul. You see what I'm saying? And that's what it's like. It's a struggle. You walk into church and you say, and you're so happy that it's days later just going to have another church service because you really ain't ready to come back here tomorrow or the next day. And it's that struggle. Like, I should be excited about coming back immediately, but no, you're really hoping and praying that you ain't got to come back here anytime soon. And some people have went to churches and they were so excited to come back the next day. But most of us, when we walked into a church, we were so glad that we didn't have to come back in there immediately. We were so glad that we had a couple weeks to think about this. And during that thinking, we wrestled with the angel and came back. Okay, let me give it a shot. It's not what the atheists are saying. It's not, indoctrination. It's not logical fallacies. Okay. Um, you know, when they bring my food here from Uber Eats or from Grubhub or DoorDash or whatever, they bring my food here. I think that's a logical fallacy because it's always cold. And I paid more money than I would if I had decided to walk or ride the bus to the store and get my food myself and have to eat it there. But for me to eat it at home, not only did I pay a whole $5 or $10 more, but I also got it cold. That's, to me, that's a logical fallacy, but that doesn't keep nobody from ordering food out now, does it? And if you really, really look at what these people had to do to get your food to you, you'd be glad that it was at least a little bit warm. You have to give them credit for that. And I've always gave them the tip. Unless they were just really that dumb, and didn't know anything about the job. But, you know, there is an inner lining of what needs to be learned in the faith. And there's that inner circle that keeps us family, keeps us believing. The atheists have not touched that. Neither has any other religion touched that. But we have that over your heads. More to come. I am D-Roy Cruz. I am your life applications officer. Thank you for watching. I will see you more with another one.